My brother and I make the same, but I'm single, so my money goes a lot further. As an aunt, I haven't minded being asked to pay for extras for the kids. I've never been asked to pay for a necessity before. They're not living paycheck to paycheck or anything like that. I'm talking about things plenty of kids don't get, expensive lessons or equipment. We've gone on vacations together because it is easier to corral the kids with 3 adults, and I will pay for upgrades for everyone for things that I enjoy. A nicer hotel or a dining experience I want to try, but I know is out of my brother's budget. I didn't think much different of offering to take them on a Disney cruise now that the kids are old enough to appreciate one. Long story, but a few things aligned at the same time for the offer to be financially feasible for me. At first, my brother and his wife were excited and said they would get back to me after determining the best time to schedule the trip. The next day, I got a call from my brother, and the mood change was immediately noticeable. They realized the price range of what I was offering and now want me to plan a cheaper vacation because the rest of that money could be put to more practical use for the family. My brother said it was insanely irresponsible to ignore his family's needs for a cruise. I said I'm not responsible for his family's needs, and it turned into a bit of an argument there. I think it's rich to come to me complaining about house renovations and needing a new car while his wife is still a stay-at-home mom with school-age kids. I support her wanting to do that, but it is a choice, one that I do not need to subsidize. The way I see it, I'm not offering him a gift of cash and demanding he spend it a certain way. I want to go on a Disney cruise, receive some incentives to make it possible, and thought it would be nice to have some family along. They can say yes or no, but I think they don't have a right to get into the financial details on my side. Like I said, I love showering the kids with extras, but I want to draw a hard line on not being a third parent when it comes to who is financially responsible for them. I think this has only become an issue because of the scale of cost, so I'm wondering if I'm seeing this from a limited perspective. Maybe I am crossing a line, throwing so much money away in front of my brother and being insensitive to their actual needs. Like if they were homeless, I would understand this being a jerk move. So I'm wondering if I'm missing something about this context, but I can't get unstuck from the fact that they have an able-bodied adult in the home who isn't bringing in any income. They're not struggling. Edit. It sounds like my sister-in-law's mother was scolding them about things being tight because she strongly doesn't want me to take them on a cruise. She thinks it will make her taking the kids someday less special because she thinks of it as a once-in-a-lifetime thing she wants to do for them. I didn't know she's been talking about taking all of her grandkids on a Disney cruise for a long time. My sister-in-law makes it sound like she got to my brother, who tends to be more practically minded. You're right, they aren't your kids. You're not offering X amount of dollars for whatever you want. You're offering, I'm going on vacation and we'll pay for those who want to join me. There's a difference, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. They do not get to tell you how to spend your money. You offered them a Disney cruise. This is not the Price is Right. They cannot opt for the cash value of their prize, especially since that would mean you also going on a cheaper vacation, so they can use your money for their personal needs. I think it is time for you to pull back on your generosity. They've clearly become entirely too comfortable with spending your money as if it were their own. If you still want to do nice things for the kids, stick to birthday, holiday gifts, and stay away from subsidizing activities or experiences that should be their parents' responsibility to budget and pay for. Your brother and sister-in-law need to learn how to live within their means and to stop seeing you as a supplemental funding source for their choices and lifestyle. Not the a-hole. I'm paying to go on vacation and inviting you to join me. If you opt out, the vacation will still be happening, just without you. If you want money for new cars and renovations, it's time to look into your wife going back to work. So, my ex and I divorced when my kids were 2 and 1. I admit I wasn't the best dad at first, and I went a few months without seeing them, which prompted her to take me to court for child support, which she gets from me every month now. Now, my ex keeps the kids, and I see them when I can. I work out of town, so sometimes I only see them 3 days a month. But I sent her money to care for the kids, and I asked her if I could have them on Father's Day, since I hadn't seen them since May 15th. She brought them over and picked them up Father's Day evening at 6 p.m. I guess she had a cookout, dinner, and presents for her husband. I mean, completely over the top. And we are friends on Facebook, and she posted pictures of him holding my kids on their vacation. Or my daughter laying on his back with her head laying on top of his and my children snuggled up with him on the couch. There were a few others of him kissing her belly, and a video of him crying as she told him they were expecting a boy. She told him that he was doing a great job helping her raise the kids, and that he was the only one she knew who could build tree houses, playhouses, paint a room just to please the kids, and watch a Disney movie every night. And she loved how much he already loved his son, and that they all loved him. They all love him, even my kids. She didn't even tell me Happy Father's Day when she came over. I texted her and told her that she needed to take the post down, as I didn't like the pictures of him with my children, and that he isn't their father and that I am, and she needs to realize that. She pretty much told me to duck off. My mother then messaged her and she told my mother, "Your son and I divorced over religious reasons. He thought he was God, and I disagreed, and I see he still feels the same way." Then she blocked her. Am I the a-hole or is my ex? You see your kids a handful of times a month. He lives with them and raises them as his own every day. He's their father too. Honestly, he's probably more their father than you are, despite the fact that they're biologically yours. This situation is entirely your creation. You ran out on them for months, and now you still barely ever see them. You're jealous and acting like an angry toddler because your ex appreciates her new husband who's actually putting in the work to raise your kids. You want the same kind of praise, then you should have put in the same kind of effort. Biologically fathering a child deserves no praise, but parenting them, raising them as your own, that certainly does. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. Wow, nice touch calling in your mommy to fight your battle. I can't imagine why it didn't work out with your ex. You're the a-hole. Holy crap, dude. You're barely involved in their life from the sound of it. Excuses or not. Their stepfather is clearly a great father to them, and that deserves to be celebrated, whether you like it or not. My daughter, 16, has a visible scar on her forehead. She was born with it, and although she struggled with negative attention, it used to get to her. Now she's embracing it as part of her personality. My fiance's mom, who's big on self-image and appearance, tends to bring up this scar and talk to my daughter in what sounds like a condescending tone about it, basically treating it as it's something to be ashamed of, or makes her incomplete. My fiance's mom would ask questions like if my daughter plans on getting a cosmetic surgery, and go on and on about how this might affect her future relationships and work and so on. She also does it in front of everyone, which puts my daughter on the spot and makes her uncomfortable. The other day we were going to visit my fiance's family for dinner. My daughter didn't want to go, but my fiance insisted. My daughter said fine, but stated that if my fiance's mom brings up the scar thing again, then she won't hold her tongue this time. I told my daughter to go for it, and my fiance was shocked. We got there, had dinner, and then suddenly, my fiance's mom brought up the scar again. This time, she was talking about genetics, and whether or not any future kids we might have will get similar birth defects. I was blown away, but before I even reacted, my daughter spoke up and told my fiance's mom, "Hey, I heard they are selling lives at the shopping mall next to your home. Why don't you go and get one and stop meddling?" The whole room went quiet. I chuckled instantly, but both my fiance and her mom were stunned. Things got awkward, and I took my daughter to the car, then got into a big argument with my fiance. She said the way my daughter spoke to her mom and what she said to her was appalling, and she should be punished for it. I said forget about it. I ain't punishing my daughter for standing up for herself. She lashed out, saying this was disrespectful, and her mom only spoke out of legitimate care and concern, and that my daughter has an attitude and I should stop enabling it. We argued some more, then my daughter and I ended up going home alone, since my fiance decided to stay with her mom till we come back with an apology and proper punishment. She's still there, and I refuse to punish my daughter or have her apologize. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You are not only exposing your child to someone who demeans her over how she looks, but you're actually considering marrying a person who not only enables this behavior, but wants to punish her for it. Are you magically just hoping this improves after marriage? Your daughter deserves better. Stop exposing her to these people and putting it on her to deal with. It is well past time to put on your parent pants and get your fiancé and her family in line. You're the a-hole, a huge one actually. Why? For not standing up for your daughter. This has been a repeated issue, and your daughter finally had to say something to defend herself when she is being picked on, ridiculed, and attacked over a scar. She should never have felt the need to defend herself because her parent should have been there to defend her the first time it happened. Why the hell would you sit by idly and listen while this woman treats your child like trash right in front of you? Your fiancé enables her mother's behavior, indicating that she doesn't hold much consideration or care for your daughter. Why would you want her to be your daughter's stepmom? So your daughter can be belittled in her own home by a bunch of jerks? This has happened repeatedly. Why would you keep exposing your daughter to this behavior, especially when you know that it has the potential to damage her self-esteem? Why allow a repeated issue to go unchecked, especially for such a length of time? Why would you force your daughter to go there, knowing the environment you are exposing her to against her will? I am disgusted. Not the a-hole, but do me a favor. Drop the fiancé and her whole family and spend that wedding fund on a trip with you and your kid. I am a single mother of 2 sons, 4 male and 1 male. 4 male is on a 50-50 custody schedule, while I have 1 male full-time. Different setups due to different dads. I live in our parents' old home, which they sold to me. My sister lost her job. She's asked if I'd let her live with me in her old room, starting in March and continuing until she finds a new job and her own place. She would be willing to contribute financially, but due to her current lack of income, it won't be much. The alternative is sleeping on our parents' sofa in their new house. My sister said she felt bad about not contributing, so I said, well, if you want to help out, I could use a hand. She asked what I needed, and I threw out the first thing I thought of, which is taking 4 male to his dad's place. It's not hard, but it's time-consuming, so if she wanted to drive him out there, that would really help me. She said no and asked if there was anything else. I said I have a childminder come here for a couple hours on Friday while I run errands, so if she wanted to take over for that, it would save me some money, and she again said no, saying she wanted as little to do with the boys as possible. I then said she can't have no interaction with my kids at all, they live here, and she said that she doesn't like kids, so she doesn't want to deal with them. I asked her what she'd do if there was an emergency and I needed her to do something child-related as a one-off, and she said that clearly that wouldn't be an issue because I've been doing fine by myself so far, and that my girlfriend, ex, or our parents could help. I then said that as none of those people live with me, I would like to know that in an emergency I could rely on her, as she would be the other adult in the house, particularly as 4 male has been to A&E a few times recently. I made clear that I wouldn't take the piss, but in an emergency situation, I need to know that she'd help me. She said that I could rely on her, just not for kid stuff. I then said I'm not sure living together is the best idea, and suggested she talk to our parents again about taking their sofa. She asked if this was because of the kids, and I said it was. She said that was unreasonable, as I wouldn't expect this from any other roommate, that I was being an a-hole over a hypocritical scenario, which could very easily never happen, and that I have plenty of support in the form of my ex, parents, and girlfriend. So I don't need extra help from her, and it's selfish of me to ask and to deny her use of her old room over it. I said it's my guest room, and I need to know that if she's living with me I can rely on her in a crisis. She said it's not her job to parent my kids. I said it's also not her job to hate kids so much that she wouldn't help with her own nephews while living with them. Am I the a-hole? It's not her job to parent your kids, and it's not your job to give her a cheap or even free place to live. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Any other roommate would be paying you full rent, their share of utilities, and pay for their own food. Unless she's willing to do that, she can't claim any other roommate status. Not the a-hole. It's fine she doesn't like kids and doesn't want to look after them on a regular basis, but she did ask what she could do to help, and you gave some ideas. Also, given she is living with you, it would be reasonable to expect her to help in an emergency. Her roommate argument also isn't valid in my opinion, given a roommate would be paying rent. Honestly, it sounds like she wanted to feel better by offering to help, but never intended to do anything. I, 32 female, am getting married to my fiancé, 42 male, who has 2 daughters, 16, 14. Their mother died 4 years ago, and I met my fiancé 2 years ago. They're polite and seem to like me, but they've never really been loving or affectionate, which really hurts because according to my fiancé, they were until I came along, and then got much colder. My soon-to-be stepdaughters are complete tomboys, which is great. They keep their hair short, they hate dresses and heels and things like that, and they love all the stereotypical boyish stuff like getting dirty. I'm the complete opposite. I have 1 pair of jeans, and I hate them. But I've never tried to stop them from being who they are. The wedding is in May, and I can tell they aren't thrilled about it, but they haven't said anything about that. That is until the dress code came up. I wanted to go shopping with them for some really cute dresses. I asked if they wanted to be bridesmaids, and they said no, and they acted all confused. They said they were just going to wear these dress shirts and pants their grandparents sent them. To be clear, the issue isn't that those aren't formal enough. They are. The issue is that they are mostly black and with their short hair sort of make them look like waiters. So me and their father told them no, they have to wear some kind of dress. All the other women and girls are, and they'll stick out, not to mention the photos will look bad. They said that I was trying to impose myself on them, and I said yeah, it's my wedding. I told them that I'd help them shop and that it'd be a good bonding experience. I would also be happy to help them with their shoes and makeup, since they don't have much experience with that. They're really angry and are threatening to make a scene if we make them wear dresses. At this point, I don't know what to do, but they are coming, and they are wearing dresses. You're the a-hole. Don't start out this marriage this terribly. How about a compromise, rompers, or a jumpsuit? Those are plenty formal and honestly super comfortable, so they don't have to worry about dresses. And they'll look dressy enough so that they don't look like waiters in your opinion. Don't force them to wear makeup or heels either. You're the a-hole. Not everyone is comfortable wearing a dress. Just because they're kids doesn't mean they should be forced to wear something they aren't comfortable in. As a compromise, I would go shopping for nice fitted suits in the color palette of your wedding. You're the a-hole. They declined your invitation to be in the wedding party, so you can't prescribe their costumes, especially if, as you say, they are formal enough. You don't approve of their gender presentation, and you don't want them to be themselves at your wedding. This is not a great look for someone who wants to be a stepmother.